The men's 5,000 meters.
It is indeed a field of just 11 starters. 3 of them have broken at 13 minutes. Jakob Ingebrigtsen chose not to run on this constructed city centre circuit. His father feeling it was perhaps a little lacking in what was ideal for his son's tired legs, so he's going for the 1,500 meters tomorrow. As we see these athletes prepare, the fastest time in the world this year by Jakob Ingebrigtsen was in Florence, remember, back in early June, 12:48. But let's have a look at this field. Krop there. Jakob Krop, 6th in Tokyo, in the World Championships rather, at 5,000 meters. Kimeli, he was 4th in Tokyo over 5,000 meters. 8th in Doha 2 years back, but 7:43 in Lausanne, 12:59 at the Olympic Games in that final. Kajelcha, well, he's had a strange old season. He holds the world record for the mile indoors from a couple of years back, but he was only 8th in the Tokyo 10,000 meters. This is his first race since Tokyo, Yomif Kajelcha. It'll be fascinating to see how well he goes here. Aragawi is another big name. He was 4th in the Tokyo 10,000 meters. He is the world number 4 at 10,000. And he was 2nd in Lausanne a couple of weeks back in a very quick 7:33 for 3,000 meters. So this is a very high caliber field. The women hit faster splits than had been planned. Here the pace that's been requested is fairly modest, 2:39 per kilometer for the first 3 kilometers. That is 13:15 tempo, and plenty of these men have gone much, much faster. Andy Butchart is out there for Great Britain. He was 11th in the 5,000 meters in Tokyo. Didn't finish Lausanne, dropped out of the 3,000 then, but did set his season's best in the Tokyo final. Maybe he's better recovered now. And it has cooled a little bit. Just over the last half hour, the temperature has dropped a couple of degrees. The wind blowing the flags over by the lake about 100 meters in front of us has certainly dropped quite significantly. So, 5,000 meters, 8.8 laps of this track. This first circuit will be, well, 8.8% of 560 meters. Steve, you're the mathematician.
I am, but that would be
Too
about,
slow.
how many percent did you say?
We'll call it about 460, 480, something like
Okay.
that. 88% of 560.
Yeah, it threw me. The women were kind of lapping at about 140-ish, the full lap, not this first lap. The men will obviously be a fair bit quicker, so they're expecting them to lap about 10 seconds quicker, around about 130 a lap, once they get this first lap out of the way. So, I mean, so many different things for them to contend with. Even the lap marker, you know, when they come down, it'll say 8 to go. And you just almost have to ignore that, try and judge your effort well.
Bethwell Bergen is the early pacemaker. He'll be passing over that burden to Matt Ramsden of Australia, who is a great athlete in his own right, but didn't run in Tokyo. There's Ramsden, a tall figure, in 2nd place. Andy Butchart back in about 8th or 9th at the moment. Kajelcha is also very tall. He's tucked in there. I just get the feeling, Steve, this is a slightly healthier tempo than perhaps the women's early running. As they go through in front of us and through the finish line, they've got 8 laps to run, and the clock was on about 120, something like that, as they went through.
They were expecting to go them through at that point in 118, so perhaps a little slower than what they'd said. So 63-64 pace, they're in that sort of margin, maybe a tad slower, but it's maybe 64-65. Bergen leading them, just trying to pick things up a little bit. It was a little slow early on, Tim. Ramsden's due to take it over. You can see the others almost bunching behind the 2 pacemakers, and Bergen's looking and saying, well, okay, then why don't you get a bit closer? And they know that Ramsden's just stepped off. And that's probably why they were waiting, thinking, yo, you're meant to go next, you're meant to pick it up. 2:38 for that kilometre, so a bit quicker than they'd started earlier.
Well, except, Steve, the first kilometre was down as 2:35.
I think
and
it's
then
in the
at
wrong
2:38.
place.
And
Yeah.
where, Steve, do you really think it's that
Yes,
wrong, do you?
yes.
Okay. So, whatever, it's 5:13 at 2K is the time we're being given. Bergen from Krop. Bergen was the initial pacemaker, and Ramsden was going to be 2nd. But Bergen has done a good job. Bethwell Bergen, who is such a great runner in his own right, he is a 13:50 performer 13:04 at his best, 13:50 this year. I think the pace is quite tasty because Butchart has dropped back pretty early on after about 4 laps. Kajelcha, they're loping along the tallest of this group by about 6 inches, actually. Krop from Kimeli. Kajelcha in 4th place, identically clad. These 4 of these 5. Kibet on the inside. Wasn't in Tokyo, didn't make the Tokyo team. Ran 8:18 in the Prefontaine 2 miles a couple of weeks back. Only came 5th in the Kenyan Olympic trials. But they're loping along here around the back of the Opera House, and then the next sharp left will take them into the home straight, and they'll come through and see 5 laps to run.
Yeah, the time that we're expecting them to hit, if they were running kind of 13:15 pace, which is, they set off at about, you know, just inside 13:20 pace, around 7:16 when they go through the finish line with 5 to go, Tim. Now, they look as though they're heading to something like that, that this little bend here is about 100 to go. Little look at the watch from Kimeli. So, no, it's not that fast. Well, somewhere between 13:10, 13:20 pace at the moment. It will speed up, undoubtedly.
Aragawi on the outside is in the orange, just tucked in behind Kajelcha. In fact, he's at the back of this group of 6 at the moment. And he is both strong and very quick. 13:08, his lifetime best was earlier on this season. That was actually earlier in the last year, excuse me, 13:08 from Aragawi. But Kibet, I think, might have just stepped it up a little bit down the backside of the course from where we are. They've got the lake to their right.
Yeah, Tim, the only way for us, as I said, we're working roughly on 90 seconds a lap, which is they've been running about 91s for this 563 lap. I have to say that I think certainly the first kilometre is well out. They're still in that sort of 13:15, 13:20 range, close at 13:20. But this lap, I think you're right, Quebec just starting to stretch them a little bit. And Kimeli, Kajelcha, they're all looking fairly comfortable, as you'd expect, because this isn't a quick pace. The thing that you have to mention, Tim, though, is that, you know, even at this pace, these tight turns and the banks, it's not helping, does it? You know, it'd be a bit much to ask people to run really quick round here.
I don't know. I mean, you think Kajelcha's used to bends like this. He's the world record holder indoors for the mile. You know, there are some people who believe that those bends indoors, the way the tracks are designed these days, actually have a sort of slingshot effect for some athletes and throw them into the straights and are beneficial. And it maybe you can even go back to the days of Eamon Coghlan, the chairman of the board, who ran a 3:49 mile indoors. It's still one of the quickest ever miles, and Coghlan was quicker indoors than he was outdoors. But I don't think those bends are too bad. I think they're, you know, maybe a little bit steeper than, as you can see there, than some indoor tracks.
Well, that was in 89, so it's a little bit quicker. So they're making 63 pace. You know, I think the point I'm making now, you and I keep thinking, oh, it looks as though it's getting quicker, and it's not. But yeah, I take your point. Aragari looks comfortable. Just watch Kajelcha on this bend at this tight turn here, which may well be the worst one, when they go into the traffic lights, because they're actually on what would normally be the road when they go around here. On the previous 2 times, he's kind of gone round. Not so bad that time.
You see the traffic lights there at the top of that picture as they head along the back of the course. Kajelcha with that rolling style, rocking from side to side, bouncing along. Looks very comfortable, doesn't he? Who's going to lose patience with this field and kick away? Although 7:52 at 3,000, if those times are accurate, is not hanging about. It's, what, about 13:05 tempo. And Krop doing all the work at the moment. Kimeli right in his slipstream. Steve, 4 abreast, 5 abreast. Yeah, that's unusual if it's 13:05 pace.
No, as I said, I think it's not 13:05 pace. That time is wrong. I think they were closer to 8 minutes for 3K. And now as they come round with 2 to go, as I said, you take 90 seconds. They're going to run much, much quicker for these last 2 laps. Of course, the Aragawi's now moved to the front. But yeah, they'll do well to get this, well, anything close to 13:05, anything under 13:10 will be, I think, what we're looking at. But that doesn't matter. It's now just a race for it. This is about winning, isn't it? Time's irrelevant.
No, exactly right. Kajelcha in just his 5th race of the year, can you believe? He's had 4 races this summer. He's kept it very, very Spartan, his race schedule. Aragawi now begins to turn the screw for the first time. This is the first big move. A lap and a half to run. And perhaps the smallest man in this field, the Ethiopian, he's still only 20. Enormous 10,000 meter strength. He's run 26.50. That was earlier on this summer when he came third at the Ethiopian Olympic trials in Hengelo, over 10,000 meters. He has got that strength and maybe is wary here of the speed of the finishing speed of Kejelcha, or indeed others here who he knows can turn it on. I like to see this team, a long run from home, and he's broken it up already. Half the job done. The group of 6 down to 3 with a lap to run as he comes down the home straight for the penultimate time. That astonishing backdrop, the Opera House here in Zurich, with the setting sun on its facade as the athletes come through with a lap to run, 563 meters to go.
Yeah, almost 5 seconds quicker that lap than any of the previous laps, and this one will only get quicker. Balu, who can kick. Of course, Kejelcha can. I'm not sure he possesses that same sort of kick as we've seen in recent years. And Aragawi, the one who's pushing it from the front here, and that's a good position to be with these 2 tight bends to go. But has he misjudged this? Has he gone a little early?
He's gone very, very early indeed. We saw Katir last week go too early. Was it in Brussels where he kicked so hard in the 5,000 meters? But here, Aragawi has thrown the gauntlet down, and even Kejelcha, I think, had a little glance over his shoulder there, and that is telling. It shows he's tired. Kejelcha rocking from side to side. Bailu in 3rd place. He looks over his shoulder. This has worked a treat. Beru Aragawi, the 20-year-old, has got the gap. The others are beaten, and he comes into the home straight with about a 25-meter lead, and he still doesn't look like he's strained here, does he? A great 3,000 in Lausanne, where he was 2nd in 7:33. Put on a battle royal there against Jakob Ingebrigtsen. It drained Ingebrigtsen dramatically, but this from Aragawi is without Ingebrigtsen. He is out on top, comes home to take the Diamond League victory. A battle going on behind for the minor places, but he crosses the line now in 12:58 unofficially, just inside 13 minutes. Really brave, aggressive running from him, duly rewarded over the last lap and a half with a big, big win.
Do you know what I've only just noticed, Tim? That the athletes think that the arch is the finish. And that's what happened in the women's race, and they kept running to the arch, which is another 30 meters beyond what is the finish line.
I don't blame them. The finish line is just a little time machine.
It's taken me by surprise. I missed it in the 5,000 and wondered why the clock had stopped almost a bit early. Because all of the other laps, we were going from the finish line.
Yeah.
I'm a bit confused by that.
It is bizarre. There's a huge, great finish gantry about 25 meters past the finish line. It is utterly bizarre. Now, Stockholm track fools a lot of people because the finish line is about 5 or 7 yards past where you think the finish line would be. But here, finish line is way before the finish, what looks like a finish gantry. It's unfair to call it a finish gantry, but it's a very nice constructed gantry. There it is. That is not the finish. That's just there because it is.
That is, and all the athletes ran to that.
Well,
they did in the women's race, and they did in the. That is weird. Anyway, which is why it looked like the kilometre splits were, because everyone was, you and I, were taking it from this gantry almost. But you know, that's a very, very strong finish. A 2:20,
2:26, something like that. His last kilometre.
Wow.
Yeah. Really quick running. And he just sat at the back for the middle of the race and enjoyed the ride. And if the splits, and we will try to confirm that for you, if not tonight, then tomorrow for the main day in the Letzigrund Stadium, where there are 25 sets of medals to be decided. Medals, Diamond League titles, I should say, to be decided. We will confirm it for you then. But Steve, unofficially, a personal best 12:58.65 for Aragawi, and the Ethiopians have got another little gem in him, haven't they? 20 years old, and there's a lot left in the tank.
Yeah, you know, when you're running kind of 63 pace all the way, and then the last K you can drop it down to, you know, 58, 59 pace for your last K. That's a good tool to have. Incidentally,
this is him sprinting through the finish line. There's the finish line.
And he keeps going.
And he goes, I mean, you don't blame him, do you? There's nothing there to indicate it's the finish.
No, he just keeps going, just keeps running, keeps running, keeps running. I think they all did.
They did.
They carry on racing. Krop is chasing down Balu. Think, I've got you here.
Yeah,
I've got another,
got another 20 meters
to get you. Yeah. Incidentally, for those no